You ain't got no members. Yo, church ain't growing. You ain't got no members. Yo, church ain't growing. You ain't got no members. Yo, church ain't growing. And now I'm about to tell you why. Oh, that's my song right there. That's my song. I mean, now streaming and available on all streaming platforms. Bow. It's called You Ain't Got No Members. So, oh my goodness. Welcome back to my channel. It's Christian. And you're tuned in for more of my 2 cents. Okay, so this is going to be a fun topic because I was literally just having this conversation with my mother a couple of weekends ago. And it was like crickets on my phone. And then she was like, you right. And I was like, boom. I like it when she tell me that. Because they let me know she understand that I ain't out here crazy. Because mama still go to church. She's still in it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm out of it. And so, you know, I respect that she respects me for getting out when I did. And so no Jordan Peele, but I had to get out for real. And I just want to share some reasons why y'all churches ain't growing. Like, go get your pastor. Send him this video. Because he may want to know. And I think it's important. I think it's importante if you want growth to watch this video. But before we get into the points and talk about it, let me make sure I let you guys know what I say before every video gets underway. Number 1, you are not alone. Number 2, you are not crazy. Number 3, God, your creator, still loves you. Boom. Okay. Yo, church ain't growing. You ain't got no members. Yo, church ain't growing. Okay. So I have seen a lot of ministries go from growth to, I don't want to say famine, but it's just been a backwards motion in their analytics. Their data is going down. You know, it's going down. And the panorama, okay, the Panda Express of it all, the C20, I don't know if YouTube out here striking videos for mentioning the C19, so I'm gonna call it the C20, definitely switched up some church, you know, some church things, and attendance was one of them. Now, if you're new to the channel, this is my 2 cents. I like to just give my perspective on things that are church related and, you know, current trending topics and things that your family, your grandma, and your mama ain't never gonna sit at the table and talk to you about concerning church. They just not gonna put their mouth on the Lord. All right, but honey, I will do it. I will put my mouth all on the church because I understand that it's human based. All right, I'm not coming for our creator. I'm coming for the people who claim they're his representatives. And all I'm saying is he needs to do some new training, possibly get the Chick-fil-A people to help, because I don't like the batch that came out. It's a bad batch. It's a bad batch of representatives for the Lord. Send them back. Okay. So why is your church not growing? You may be looking around and saying, man, I just keep seeing the same people. Or, wow, such and such stopped coming. Oh my goodness, what is going on here? We don't have any youth. Why do people come visit but never return? Like a boomerang, but they got lost in the woods. It didn't come back to you. It did not. And I need y'all to know why. I mean, at least these are my theories. And when I share them with you, you're going to be like, damn, she right. I know. Okay, so click like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Would love to have you at the table. Let's get into these reasons. Now, I got 3 reasons, but I may add some more to the table, to the talk, because, you know, I get downloads directly on the spot, and I like to share those, okay? Number 1, leadership. Why is your church not growing? Leadership. Leadership. We know this with our own country, right? Plain and simple. It flows from the head down. Head down. No church growth. Shout out to Ludacris. Okay. You can guarantee that if your ministry is not growing, it's because of the leadership. Something there is just not adding up. It's not. Now, I say that because the person with the vision is the person to carry out the mission. It's the person that is most married and committed to seeing certain things come to pass. And if you have the intentions of your ministry growing and being so effective in the community, or, you know, gaining and winning souls for the kingdom, you have to put some things in place for that to actually happen. And if you don't have the right leadership skills and you don't have the right qualities as an individual, we're going to see a lot of things buckle. No, it's not going to be a perfect ministry. But what I'm saying is that if your intent is genuine and authentic and you're handling things the way that they should be, you're taking care of your duties as a pastor and as a leader and as a called man or woman of God, then you should be attracting people consistently because you're doing what it takes, like internal work for yourself as well as outer, that draws people to the church, to the body. Somebody who says, oh my goodness, TD Jakes does this, he gives that, he's here, he's a advocate for this, he's always present here, he gives back to the community, you know, he's always hosting these fairs or whatever, that credit is going to go to the leader. It just is. But if you're a leader like John Gray, per se, we ain't gonna hear nothing but drama coming from your way. That's another video for another day. All right. So look at leadership. Look to leadership when churches aren't growing. Please, not just the pastor, but any of the other leadership in position, right? The leadership over your ushers, your greeters, right? The tithes and offering baskets. Leaders maybe over the children's ministry. Ooh, I'm going to talk about that. Okay. Let's talk about that right now, actually. A lot of people, and this is not one of my points, but a lot of people don't understand how this works. Your church or any organization for that matter is only as strong as the youth involved in the actual organization. Think about the YMCA, right? Think of any of these sports clubs or sports plexes or whatever. They're in environments that have families. You're going to see a lot of growth in areas that have a booming demographic of family. If that is growing, right? If that data is showing growth on the chart, like, oh my goodness, we have families moving into the area by the droves. You're going to see schools popping up. You're going to see libraries. You're going to see play places. You're going to see restaurants, because that means that growth is taking place there. If your youth ministry is dead, and I'm talking about tumbleweeds blowing through that big. If there is no growth in your youth ministry and department, if there is no activity and no outreach in that area, you can guarantee that ain't nothing else gonna grow in that church. Because if you think back to when you were growing up as a kid, because I remember children being bussed in, right? Growing up in Gary, Indiana on the east side, right? There were buses from Caucasian churches picking up little black kids, taking them to their church in Crown Point, in Highland, in Maryville, in Cherville, because they understood that if we can get the church, the children excited and involved in our ministries, their parents are going to want to know where their children are and they're going to come. And even if the parents don't want to come, we're still giving the children an out on Sundays to have something else to do. So when I'm sitting in my house, right, as a little kid, and seeing these buses, and I mean school buses. I ain't talking about no minivans, honey. I'm talking about school buses with some Caucasian bus attendants getting these babies, picking them up, being nice, going to the door to get them. I'm not talking about blowing a horn. They were stopping at houses to pick up these kids to take them to church. Yes, indeed, they were. And so that's outreach. That's relationship. That's a growth strategy and plan for your church. These churches nowadays are out here paying their youth ministers like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 salaries, because they understand the more money you put into the future, the better the return on the investment is. Because mom, dad, grandma, grandpa may get sick and may have to stop attending. But as you keep growing and going, you're going to be committed to what has actually nurtured you. It starts in the back. If you enjoy being in the back of the church, having your own youth services, having your own praise and worship teams, your own little shows and plays and things to look forward to on Sunday, you're not going to want mom and dad to miss a Sunday because your children are excited, right? Okay, but we're not getting that, especially not in the black church. No, these kids don't need no fun. Stop being these kids' friends. Okay, don't put together no nice programs for these kids. Don't invest in the children in your church learning more. Don't. By no means, child. Let them kids sit in the front sanctuary with you and their mama and be dry and sleepy if they want to. Don't, when they become of age to start bucking against their parents and say, I don't want to go, Don't be surprised when your membership dwindles even more over the next 5 to 10 years because they don't want to come. Because there was no effort made to actually communicate and to build a relationship with that generation of members. Because right now they don't get to choose if they come. But when they are able to choose, they're not going to choose you. They're going to be so disgusted by being forced that they're not going to come back once they can drive themselves. There's nothing there that you can do at that point. So when you look at the demographics of your environment, your community, your area, people want to know why churches aren't growing because there's no youth in them. But we had a video on that last week about predators in the church, and that's a problem as well. We have so many of these people preying on children in church. Parents don't feel safe with having their children unsupervised and unmonitored in certain ministries. Like, I remember distinctly going to one church here in Texas when we moved here. I ain't gonna say the name of the church, child, but it ain't TD Jakes. It ain't the Potter's house, okay? We went to one church that's very well known here in the DFW area. They have like 5 or 6 campuses actually. And I don't care. I'm saving nobody. One Community. That's the name of the church, okay? So it was called One Community. And we went to one of their locations here in the DFW area. And I think it was their Plano location. And wouldn't you know it, we go to take our son to the back, for kids church. I think he was only like 2 or 3 at the time. And he cried, of course, the detachment of it all. He cried. And the way that one of the attendants went to grab him from my husband was an automatic, hell no, don't do that. Okay. So she went to grab our son from my husband and was like, oh, he'll be okay. We got him. And my husband was like, no, he don't know you. Like, don't do that. Right. That takes connection, relationship, and overall just compassion, I would suppose. But a lot of people's attitudes in those backgrounds and in those settings is just, we got this. You go and enjoy the service. I don't want to separate with my child in a stressful emotion. And so she didn't understand that. That was the first instance, okay? All right, so we got him to calm down. We left him there that day. Not a problem. We go to pick him up. It was a whole bunch of teenagers in the room helping the adults. It was only like 2 adults and it was like 4 or 5 teenagers. And I'm like, this is the last day. This is the first and last day, actually, for this to take place. Because it's a no for me when I go into any environment and I see my children being taken care of by children. You feel me? Like there's too large of a margin for error. Now, on my way to pick him up, when we walked past the bathroom, we saw a man standing in the girls' bathroom door talking to little girls, telling them to come out of the bathroom. Like, standing there, the door was propped open. So he's standing in the bathroom, like before the wall, by the wall. But it was just, that's too much for me. That's a hell no. Okay? Hell no. He won't go. I'm not doing it. So when you think about your youth department and the future of your ministry, you're already losing people with practices and people in position that aren't really cordial, that don't really have great people skills and socialization, and they're not formally trained on how to deal with children who may have anxiety with detaching, or removing. And maybe I just shouldn't took my child back there. If he wanted to be that close to me, not a problem. I didn't go back. We didn't. One community lost this community because we wasn't coming to be a part of their community after that engagement. So you have to look at that. Your church isn't growing because the youth is not. It ain't building. It's not giving. We are family. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. So look at leadership and look at your youth department. Your youth is always going to be a sign, a predictor of where you're going in the future, even in your surrounding area. Like my hometown of Gary, when I went back to Gary a couple of years ago and I was driving around, I'm like, dang, the city ain't got no libraries? We just shut down the libraries? Oh yeah, y'all definitely ain't planning on this city going nowhere. Because when your city don't have a library, you saying we don't care about education. We know that the schools ain't doing that well and kids aren't enrolling high. So we don't need nothing else for y'all to do outside of being in school. Go ahead and shut it down. That's a problem. That's public funding and money that's not pouring into the city, which means that they don't even see the demographic numbers and the need for it. That's danger. Shout out to Mystical. So look at those signs in the church for why it's not growing. Next up, antiquated church teachings and beliefs. Oh my goodness, y'all ain't gonna like this. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all ain't gonna like this. Because what I'm saying to you right now is some of y'all need to do away with the trash, toxic teachings that you and your great grandma and grandpa came up with, and y'all now still holding people hostage to in church. That's all I'm saying. The red lips, right? The makeup, we don't like that. Nail polish on the hands and the toes. What is you doing, hoes? We don't like that. That's what church is saying. That's the antiquated beliefs in church, right? You can't be doing certain things and wearing certain things and looking certain ways. Just ain't gonna have it here today. When you think about church growth, if there are more people in church judging the new people coming in, people are not going to stay. People are just not gonna stay. If everything is a problem in a place that's meant to be open to all people, all of that come as you are, baby, I ain't heard nobody say that in church in a very long time. Ain't nobody saying that no more. Because they don't want you to come as you are. They want you to come and be who they told you to be. Come and do what I said do. Come and act the way that I need you to act so I feel confident and comfortable in your level of salvation. And so when you think about why your church isn't growing, more than likely it's because of some of the old heads, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but it's because of some of the older people in your ministry who are just set in their ways that they don't want to do any kind of evolving and moving on any kind of playing field, and it's not realistic. It's just not. It's not realistic, and it's actually not fair when you're trying to read when you're not reading the room, but you're trying to hold everybody else accountable and at the same standard level when everybody's on a different level in life, in their mind, in their heart, in their experiences. But you don't want to shake anything up. But y'all will be out here accepting your pastor having side babies and next wives and all of this other stuff. That's fine. But you don't want new people to come in and then kind of be reformed, right? Kind of get into the groove of things like, okay, this isn't acceptable. Maybe this dress is a little bit too tight. You know, maybe I should be doing this. Whatever those convictions may be after one gets into a religion, you have to let that work be done if they take on that parts of the religion. If they choose not to, it is not your job to be little Jesus Jr. out here in these pews. Leave people alone. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so you may have to look at some of the teachings and the belief systems. I'm not saying trash them, and I'm not saying change them for everybody. But what I'm saying is that the presentation and the expectations definitely need to shift. There is a lot to be said and a lot that can be done, and a lot more people you can catch with honey than you know the say. And a lot of people are out here trying to catch members with SHIT, and don't nobody want that. Okay, we want the promises, not the punishment. So some of these beliefs and teachings definitely should shift and should change, because people are already dealing with a lot in the world, and they don't need to come into the church and also be held hostage by your beliefs. So think about that and why your church isn't growing. And last but not least, my best and greatest point, and oh my God, I've already reached my 15-minute mark. Damn it, Gina, I just can't do it. So it looks like 20 to 25 is our sweet point. Get into it. That's it. I can't do 15 minutes. Who am I kidding? The last point on the list is members. And I can lock my phone for my notes. Okay, I got my little notes over here. That's why I keep looking over here. Members. This is how I'm going to break down this analogy, and hopefully you get it and you start looking at it. Okay. You have your members, right? Your members are representatives of the organization, like your Girl Scouts, right? Like your Deltas, your AKAs, your Alphas, your Kappas, your Zetas, right? Okay, organizations. Follow me? Okay, good. When those people come into those organizations, they're individuals, but they also already have their own circle that they run in. So you may join the organization, but you still have life outside of those organizations. You still work, right? You still have family, you have friends, you go out, you socialize, you engage. You may be part of other organizations. Hell, you just breathe and exist. You go to the mall, you shop, you do everything else outside of that organization. But guess who you are at the core? You're you. And whoever you are draws people to you or pushes people away from you. Now think about it like this. Am I a representation of my business or am I a representation of Christian? Well, if you have anything else that you belong to and people find out about it, you automatically become a representation of that entity. You're no longer just Christian. Y'all ain't watching this video just like, oh, I like her. You're probably going to look me up. You're probably going to say, what else she do? Because she mentioned she's an entrepreneur. What else she got going on? You then realize, oh, she's a representative of this. Let me say, do, act, or whatever, or portray a certain kind of way, and it's not going to make you want to support me in the other things that I do. Because I'm going to be over here as Christian, you're not going to want to be over here with Christian. You follow me? So when you think about why your church isn't growing, look at your members. That's all I'm saying. Look at your members. What kind of image are your members portraying when they're not in church? Case in point, my mama might as well be sole winner of the millennium, okay? Because she's led more people to Christ than the pastor. And that's just on who? LMNOP, okay? Because it's not a lie. It's not a lie. Just about every friend that my mother has had at her job, at her hair salons, visits, anywhere my mother has gone, she's always been a light. People have always been drawn to my mother. She's an amazing soul, a sweet woman, genuine and authentic in that way, and she has a servant heart to a fault. Lord Jesus, I wish you would just stop serving people. Come on, Harafe, tell her. Stop serving these people. They don't deserve it. They just don't. They don't deserve you, mama. They don't. But anyway, okay? My mother has drawn more of her friends who were all the way left in the world. Like they were out there. Like sleeping with other people's husbands out there, right? Like multiple baby daddies out there, right? Like boyfriend and girlfriend got out there. They did what they wanted to do. My mother didn't do those things, but they were always drawn and attracted to her because of her light. Her life was such a beautiful representation of kindness and virtue that she didn't have to pass out pamphlets at work. Mama didn't do that stuff. She wasn't that cubicle soul winning. That wasn't what she was doing. Her life was the light. And when people found out who she was, right, and what she did and how that translated into the relationships they enjoy with her, they then were drawn to Christ. She was then able to say, oh, I go to Pastor so-and-so's church, you know, down off of West 11th Avenue. She was able to bring them and lead them in that way because her life was the bait, if you will. You got some members out here right now, honey. Their life is trash. Trash. Cue Britney Spears Toxic. Dun, 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 dun. It was toxic. People are toxic. Toxic on their job. Jerks at their desk, right? Jerks in meetings. Jerks as managers. A-holes at work. A-holes at the drive-through window. And all of these people are supposed to be representatives of your church organization, but nobody is coming because of them. Anywhere that you go and you're part of an organization, somebody's going to either want to know where you go, what you do, what you're a part of, and be inspired to join as well. Or they're going to be like, ooh, wait, girl, I don't see how you hang around her. She's a mess. Like, she one of y'all? She a this? She a that? Oh, I didn't know. I worked with her and she stayed in some mess and some drama. Ask yourself why your church ain't growing. Look at the people in the seats. Look at the people in the seats. Those are your representatives. Those are your people who would either A, draw people as a magnet, or B, repel people as a poison. And it's giving poison, 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 poison. That's what it's giving. Because nothing draws you in. I've given you guys the example before of how my husband and I have had people to ask us, what do you all do? Like, you guys are so different. Your energy is just so amazing. And you guys just seem so nice. We are, because we're happy. And if we were in church and that was our lifestyle, we probably would invite people to go and be a part of some of the organizations. But we're not. We're just us. No strings attached. You can just still run into good people in this world. Kind people who speak and don't ball their face up or roll their eyes or demand things from you. Some of y'all members are just straight up jerks in the public. And nobody would ever want to follow them anywhere. Nowhere. Not even to a free Beyonce concert. So, why is your church not growing? Ask yourself. Leadership? The youth? Old beliefs? And membership representation. Those should be your key focal points if you're trying to grow your organization, that is. If you're not trying to grow your church, don't worry about it. I ain't saying none of this, and don't none of this matter to you. But you definitely should look at all of these points to ask yourself, is any of this actually what's affecting the growth here? Because it ain't about people not wanting to love God and serve. That ain't it. That's not it. Are you worth sitting under? Are you worth serving with? Because I ain't doing no more than serving you. Are you worth serving with others? I want to serve people outside of church. Some of y'all just need to say, I'm going to go to church, but I don't want to serve the people in the church. I want to serve the people outside of church. I'm going to do stuff for the community. I want to do stuff for the poor. I want to do stuff for the broken, for the depressed. I want to serve in other places. I want to serve the veterans. I want to serve the elderly, right? I don't want to come here to worship. I don't want to serve y'all. I don't want to get you none to drink. I don't want to participate in none of these conferences and none of this stuff. That stuff is man self-edifying. I want to serve outside of the church. Can we just meet up here, right? Do a little We Are the World, We Are the Children, and then leave? Because I want to serve you. I want to serve with you, but I don't want to serve you because you have a problem, right? You're toxic. You're not nice. I don't like that. We have to really start taking these things into account. So these are just my reasons, my thoughts on why some of the churches out here are not growing. And the ones that are pretty much like social clubs. So there are some mega churches that just keep on growing in popularity. It's because of that. They're social clubs and it's cool to go until it ain't cool no more. Next video, we going to talk about that. Coming right up, John Gray. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my 2 cents. Got more of it on the way. Thank y'all for tuning in and watching. Don't forget to like the video, comment if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel. We would love to add you to our 2 cents community. All right. See you guys in the next video. Bye.